I've always loved to cook. For me, the kitchen isn't just a place where you make soups and fry cutlets. It was my way of saying, I love you. I had been on my feet since early morning today. It was my grandson's 6th birthday. 6 is a big milestone, and I wanted him to remember this day as I remember my own childhood parties. The smell of apple pie, my mom's polka dot dress, the shouts of neighborhood kids who came over for cake. Fine, thick, silent snow was falling outside all morning. It lay on the branches of the apple tree in the garden, making them look like white lace arches. I turned on the oven, placed the dough on the table, sprinkled it with cinnamon, just how my grandson liked it, and arranged the apple slices in a fan. On the stove, my signature homemade noodle soup was already simmering. I knew my grandson would definitely ask for seconds. The kitchen table, covered with a faded tablecloth with blue poppies, was already laden with dishes. A big bowl of Olivier salad, a plate of lavish rolls, a small vase of cranberry juice. I had even bought little flags to stick into the cake. The whole apartment was filled with warmth and delicious smells. I quietly hummed an old song while putting the presents into a bag. A soft teddy bear, a building set my son and I had dreamed of as kids but never got, and a picture book with bright illustrations. At exactly 11 o'clock, there was a knock at the door. I wiped my hands on a towel and went to open it, already imagining my grandson running to me. But it was just my son and his wife standing on the doorstep. "Hey, Mom," my son said tiredly, without much joy. He held empty tote bags in his hands. "Hi, where's the birthday boy?" I leaned forward a little, looking into the stairwell. "He's at Grandma's, at Vika's mom's," he said, nodding toward his wife. "We just stopped by to tell you the party's going to be at our place." "At your place? What do you mean?" I didn't understand. "But I've prepared everything, and the pie's in the oven." "Well, just pack up what you've made and bring it over. We left the car downstairs. We'll help you load it," Vika said without looking at me, checking something on her phone. "We have more space, and the guests are already arriving." I stood there, rooted to the spot. The only thing in my mind was, why? Why didn't anyone tell me sooner? My son looked down and then added, "Mom, we have a modern kitchen. It's more convenient. And the guests, they're all ours." "And am I a guest?" I asked softly. "Of course," he replied quickly, but I knew it was just a formality. I went back to the kitchen, and they followed me. The soup was bubbling with little bubbles, and the pie was rising, filling the kitchen with the smell of cinnamon. Vika immediately walked over to the table. "We'll take all of this. Oh, and the juice, too." I started taking out containers and putting them into the bags. My son helped silently while Vika commented, "What's this for? We already have salads." "But it's Olivier. He loves it." "Fine, we'll take it." Every word of hers was like a tiny needle, not painful, but unpleasant. And by the end, my whole body was tingling from these pricks. As I carefully placed the pie in the box, I remembered how last year they had asked to have the party at my place. "You cook so well, Mom," my son had said back then. I had put in so much effort rushing to the stores, washing the windows, and even buying new curtains. Everyone was happy then. Now, everything was different. I was no longer the host of the party, but a food supplier. "Mom, hurry up," my son said, looking at his watch. "We still need to pick up the cake." "But the cake is right here," I said. "Well, Vika wanted to order one from a bakery with figures on it." My heart sank. My pie, made with love, was not the right cake. I took a deep breath so as not to say something harsh. I don't know how to argue, especially with them. But in that moment, I understood for the first time with perfect clarity. I was not being seen as a person, but as a function. "All right," I said quietly, grabbing my coat. "Let's go." I put on my old wool shawl, the one my own mother used to wear. It smelled of lavender and mothballs. My son took the bags of food. Vika was already out in the hallway. Down by the front door, I felt the cold air hit my face. The white snow was falling in thick flakes, settling on the sleeves of my coat. My son opened the trunk, and we put all the bags inside. "Get in," he said. "Let's go." I sat in the back seat and watched the snowy streets rush by. Everything inside me was quiet and empty, as if I had been left behind in an old, abandoned house. We drove up to their house, a new high-rise with a mirrored lobby. The hall smelled of expensive citrus air freshener and something rubbery from the new floor mats. At the reception, as they called it, sat a young concierge with a neat eyeliner flick. My son greeted her by name. "Larissa, good morning." I found myself thinking something strange. He knows the concierge's name, but he no longer remembers what kind of pies I bake for his birthday. The elevator took us up to their floor. The door opened onto a wide hallway with a full-length mirror. I involuntarily adjusted my shawl and a gray strand of hair that had come loose from my bun. From the living room, I could hear the squeal of children's voices, some trendy music, and laughter. In the kitchen, dishes were clattering. "Put it here," Vika said, gesturing grandly to the island in the middle of the kitchen. "Just be careful. There are cream cupcakes here. Don't touch them." I placed my containers on the edge, far away from the other boxes. Everything on the white countertop was arranged like something out of a magazine. Dusty pink paper plates, striped straws, jars of confetti, and "Misha is 6" cake toppers. My pie, with its golden brown crust, looked like an uninvited relative in this sterile pink kingdom. "Mom," my son hugged me over my coat gently, as if he was afraid of getting dirty. "Thanks for helping out." I didn't help out. I wanted to. I trailed off. Vika had already gone into the other room. Vika's friend walked into the kitchen, long-legged with a ponytail in a glittery sweater. "Oh," she glanced at the pie. "Is this homemade?" "My mom's." My son smiled carelessly. "How cute," the friend said, and then lowered her voice to a whisper. "But, Vic, you ordered a cake. What about this one?" This one was standing a foot and a half away from them. I heard every word, even though they pretended I wasn't there. "We'll put it on a separate table," Vika replied, looking at her phone. "The kids will want the cupcakes anyway." I arranged some forks, as if it were a very important task, and tried to swallow the lump in my throat. My grandson ran into the room, shaggy-haired, in a new t-shirt with lightning bolts on it. "Grandma!" He climbed into my arms, smelling of ice cream and shampoo. I hugged him tightly, inhaling the warmth of his hair. And at that very moment, Vika snapped her fingers. "Misha, don't hang on your grandma. The presents are for later." I put him down and patted his head. My son was already telling his friends how he and Vika organized everything themselves. The kitchen turned out to be my place. I was immediately handed an apron with a silver inscription, "Sous Chef," and put in charge of coordinating the snacks. I sliced cheese, arranged cherry tomatoes on a platter, rinsed grapes, and wiped my hands on a clean towel, joking to myself in my thoughts. Yes, I know how to be useful. A tall vase with a bouquet of dried flowers was placed on the table where I had put the crispy platter with my rolls. The dry grasses smelled of dust. "Mom," Vika said without a "please, can you keep an eye on the kettle? We have a smart one. You just press this button." "I can," I replied, though I wanted to say, "Can I hug my grandson?" People were buzzing around behind me. Vika was flashing her phone, catching the best angles, posting stories. "Guys, look at this spread." And the camera would glide past my pie. "And this?" I asked timidly, touching the box with the pie. "Later," she said curtly. On the windowsill stood my old salad bowl, green glass, with a diamond-patterned rim. I had given it to them in their first year of marriage after my own silver wedding anniversary. The salad bowl had a thin crack in it. It must have been dropped recently. I ran my finger along the edge, fragile but still holding on, just like me. The doorbell rang again. Vika's mom, Marina, arrived. She was all in white with a new haircut and an expensive perfume. "Oh, hello." She saw me and smiled. The smile didn't reach her eyes. "You're here too?" "Yes," I said. "Vika and I were blowing up balloons until 3 in the morning yesterday," she said proudly, kissing her grandson. "Can you imagine how much work that was?" I smiled back. "I can imagine." The kettle was puffing behind me. Closer to the middle of the party, I was assigned to the kids' room. "Mom, can you sit in the kids' room? The kids have markers, so they don't draw on the walls," my son said, as if he were talking to a hall assistant. "Of course," I replied. The kids' room smelled of new carpet and pastels. I sat the little ones down on a blanket and handed out coloring books. Misha crawled over to me and rested his head on my lap. "Grandma, are you staying the night?" "No, sweetie, not tonight." "How about tomorrow?" "We'll see." The door opened slightly and Vika peered in. "No sweets, and don't give them those, what are they, marshmallows. Our nutritionist said not to." I nodded. The children's eyes widened. 5 minutes later, Vika's friend brought them glasses of cola and a mountain of gummies. "Just don't tell your mom," she winked. I sighed. As Vika walked past, she still hissed at me. "I told you not to." I didn't rat out her friend. I wasn't complaining about anyone anymore. I simply put the bowl of gummies aside and went to look for wet wipes. In the kitchen, everything sped up. My son and Marina were arranging the proper dishes from the catering service, carefully transferring them into their own dishes. My potatoes with mushrooms were moved to a chair under the table. "Will it fit here?" Marina moved the plate away irritably. "Maybe put it back in the oven?" I suggested. "No need." Vika raised an eyebrow. "The smell will be, heavy." Vika called me into the hallway. Her voice became sugary. "Mom, listen, Igor and I," she nodded toward my son, "wanted to discuss a financial matter." My son shifted his weight. "It's like this." He lowered his voice. "The bank won't approve a car loan for us. The mortgage is still a burden, you know. Could you be a co-signer?" A co-signer? The word felt sticky on my tongue. "It's purely a formality." Vika smiled the way salespeople do. "You have a stable pension, good work history. It's just, well, a signature and that's it. We'll pay for everything. You won't have to." "Mom." My son touched my elbow. "This is important. We take Misha to kindergarten, and the car, well, the old one rattles." I remained silent because I could hear the blood roaring in my ears. I remembered how a year ago I had co-signed for their kitchen appliances. Back then, purely a formality, also turned into a payment when they went on vacation and forgot to make the installment. I ran to the post office to pay because everything would be on me. Back then, I smiled and told myself, these are a family's worries. Now there was no smile and no strength. "I'll think about it," I said. "What's there to think about?" Vika wrinkled her nose. We're family." "I'll think about it," I repeated more firmly. She rolled her eyes and left. My son looked guilty, like a boy who'd broken a vase. "Mom, don't be mad." "I'm not mad," I said, and was surprised at how calm my voice sounded. "I'll just think about it." In the kids' room, a boy spilled juice on the carpet. I ran for napkins and came back just in time to see Vika walking down the hallway, holding a small bundle of mine, a honey-colored knitted sweater. I had knitted it at night, secretly, despite my aching back. I wanted to give it to Misha at the end after the guests had left, so he could put it on and smell like me all winter. "What's that?" her friend asked. "Oh, that's, something my mom knitted, but we'll do it later." "Misha's in a brand-name sweater. This doesn't fit the picture," Vika laughed. I took the sweater back in silence. Something inside me cracked like ice under a heel. I put the bundle in my bag, with my wallet and keys. By the evening, the cake from the bakery was brought out to applause. My son and Vika leaned over it, the candles burning, the camera clicking nonstop. "Misha, blow!" everyone shouted in unison. My pie was still standing in the corner, covered with parchment paper. "Grandma, what about your pie?" Misha whispered, looking around. "Later," I said, and gave him the warmest smile I could. After the candles, I gently asked, "Maybe we can cut mine for the adults?" "No, no." Vika was already putting away the knife. "People are full. You can take it home tomorrow." I nodded. "I guess I'll take it home. I guess I'll warm up one piece for myself again and remember how, as a child, we ate pies with our hands, careful of the hot filling." When the guests sat down at the table, Marina took the seat to Misha's right, and I was offered a stool at the edge of the kitchen. I still got up every 3 minutes. The kettle, spoons, someone spilled juice, or a selfie where you need to move away so you're not in the shot. "Mom," Vika came up close, "could you move your containers to the balcony? The aesthetic needs to be clean." "Of course," I said, bending down for my containers. The balcony smelled of cold and plastic. I put the containers there, next to a garbage bag, so I could take it out later. From the balcony, I could see the courtyard, a children's swing with a scarf someone had left on it. I felt cold even in my coat. I went back to the kitchen and warmed my hands on a cup. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was my neighbor Tanya. We sometimes went to the market for vegetables together. "How is it there? Are you tired?" she wrote. I looked at the table. The children were eating. The adults were laughing. Vika was straightening her back for the photographers. I replied, "I'm fine." For a second, my fingers wanted to type, "Come get me out of here." But I deleted the words because I'm not the type of person who asks for help. "Mom." My son sat down on the stool next to me. "Don't be mad at Vika. She's nervous. She wants everything to be perfect." "I also once wanted everything to be perfect," I said. "I was nervous too. It's just, you understand how everything works now." "Everything works the way we allow it to," I replied, and for the first time all day, I looked him directly in the eyes. He looked away. Closer to 9, Vika started the adult part. They turned up the music, brought out a cocktail shaker, and clinked crystal glasses. The children were taken to the kids' room with cartoons. Misha found me with his eyes and quietly stuck out his tongue, funny and conspiratorial. I stuck out mine, and we both laughed. "Mom!" Vika's voice became sugary again, with crunchy little ice shards inside. "Could you sit with the kids? It'll only be an hour, and then we'll handle it. They'll be watching cartoons. All you need to do is not give them cola and put away the markers." "Okay," I said. I sat with the children, listening to their adult music blaring from the other room, the clinking of glasses mixed with loud laughter. At 10, I texted my son, "I'm leaving." He didn't reply. At 10:15, Marina looked into the kids' room. "Oh, you're still here. How wonderful. We're having shots. Short drinks. It's so exhausting to control everything. You're just a gem." I gave a forced smile. At 11, the children started to nod off. I turned off the light, leaving the nightlight with the cloud on. Misha pressed against me, just for a second, like in the morning. "Grandma, don't go," he whispered. "I'll stay a little longer," I said. And I did. Until I realized that I was starting to turn into an invisible person. I went out into the hallway. The music was fading. The party was turning into whispers and laughter. Vika saw me and jumped up. "Oh, where are you going?" "Home," I said. "It's late." "Then would you be a dear and take out the garbage? There's a bag on the balcony. And take your pie, too. Otherwise, we'll forget about it tomorrow and throw it away, honestly." My son came over, warm and flushed. "Mom, why don't you stay a little longer?" "No," I said. "I'm tired." "The garbage," Vika reminded me, and turning away, she added, "And Mom, think about being a co-signer. It's in our shared best interest. You love Misha, don't you?" I nodded. I really do love Misha. I took the heavy bag, went out into the hall, put on my coat, and wrapped the shawl around me. The elevator was empty and cold. Downstairs at the exit, the concierge Larissa looked up. "Have a good evening." "You too," I said, holding the door open with my shoulder and carrying the garbage bag out into the darkness, where the snow under the streetlights looked like golden dust. At home, I took off my boots and stood in the hallway for a long time listening to the silence. The kitchen smelled of morning cinnamon, a residual warmth. I put the kettle on, opened the box with the pie, and cut myself a small slice. I sat at the table, leaning over the steam. My phone was blinking with unread messages from a new family chat that Vika had created last week. I wasn't added to it. I called my son. He didn't answer. I texted, "I'm home." He put a like and a thumbs up emoji on it. I read that emoji 3 times, as if there were some hidden care in it. The phone vibrated again. It was Tanya. "Are you home?" "I'm home." "Come over tomorrow morning, we'll have some tea." I agreed, and for the first time all day I felt the air become warm again. In the morning, as I was washing a cup, the doorbell rang. Standing on the doorstep was the concierge, Larissa, in a casual jacket, with her hood up. I was surprised. "Sorry for coming without warning," she said, looking embarrassed. "I saw you leaving yesterday, and I just wanted to say you're a very beautiful grandma. And your cake. It smelled like my childhood." "You tried it?" "Vika treated the staff this morning." Larissa smiled apologetically. "I'm sorry, it was wonderful." For some reason, I laughed. "Come in," I said. "Since you're here, how about some tea?" We sat in my kitchen. Larissa drank her tea, holding the cup with both hands, and told me how hard the night shifts were and how she was studying long distance. We laughed at little things. I suddenly realized, this is my world. A kitchen, simple tea, a conversation where I don't have to be a smart speaker with the function of a grandma. "And also," Larissa added as she was leaving, "it seemed to me that yesterday you were, well, I was put on pause," I said. "I see people," Larissa replied quietly. "Say no. Sometimes a fence around your heart is the only thing no one else can build for you but yourself." After she left, I sat for a long time in front of an open notebook. On the first page, I had written, "List of no's," and so it went. No to co-signing. No to being a default babysitter without being asked. No to other people's parties where you are the help. I finished writing and went to the store. I bought a block of cottage cheese, milk, and bread. At the checkout, I heard my phone beep, an unknown number. "Hello? Good afternoon. Sorry to bother you. This is Olive Bank. We have a credit application where you are listed as a guarantor. Please confirm that you are aware of this." I froze. Around me, bags rustled. Someone was arguing over change, and the cashier was clattering coins. I haven't signed anything, I said, feeling my fingers go cold. Perhaps a preliminary consent was given by the other borrower. The soft voice from the earpiece smiled an invisible smile. We'll send you a consent form by email. Don't send anything, I said for the first time in a long time, harshly. I will not be a guarantor, neither verbally nor in writing. I hung up. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my throat. I pushed the shopping cart, the bag rustling, and suddenly saw across the street, in the window of a thrift store, a green salad bowl just like mine. My salad bowl. With a thin, branch-like crack. The price tag read, $400. I left the store and crossed the street. The owner of the thrift store, a stout woman in a knitted vest, looked at me over her glasses. Excuse me, she caught herself. Ma'am, can I help you? That salad bowl, I pointed. It's mine. It was brought in this morning, she replied indifferently. A young lady said it was junk, but maybe someone can use it. I'll buy it back, I said. My voice was even. I paid 40 times 10. The coins clattered in my palm. I took the salad bowl and pressed it to my chest, like Aladdin's lamp. Outside, the snow was slowly melting, dripping from the eaves. At home, I put the salad bowl in the cupboard, on the top shelf where no one could reach it, and suddenly I heard my phone vibrate. A message from my son. Mom, why are you doing this? Vika is in tears. She says you were making a scene with the concierge. People noticed. It's embarrassing. And with the bank, too. You could have just talked to us normally. I typed and deleted a reply for a long time. My fingers kept wanting to write the familiar words. I'm sorry. Of course. What do you need? I stopped and wrote something else. Come over alone today at 7. We need to talk without anyone else. He read it. Okay. I turned off my phone and leaned against the refrigerator. I knew this would be a conversation where they would try to convince me that I was seeing things incorrectly, feeling too much, and demanding too often. I knew what would follow this. I knew. And I was still scared. At 6:48, I heard footsteps in the hallway. My son hadn't come alone. Vika came in behind him, still in her coat, her lips a thin, tight line. We couldn't not come, she said instead of a greeting. This is a family matter. Come in, I said. We sat in the kitchen. I set out 3 cups, a sugar bowl, and some jam. Mom, my son began, let's not be dramatic. You know we only want what's best for you, but you're wrong. Larissa said you put pressure on her. I invited her for tea, that's it. And the salad bowl. Vika nodded toward the cupboard. Do you think someone wanted to hurt you? It's old. We wanted to throw it away. Marina said it was just junk, and besides, it's mine, I said. It was a gift from me. Gifts become our property, Vika said, as if it were a legal term. We decide what to do with them. Fine, I smiled. Then my signatures are also mine. My son sighed. Mom, I'm begging you. No, I said. Let's stop with the hints. I will not be a guarantor. I will not be a cosigner. I will not be a default babysitter. And I will not be a trash can for everything that messes up your picture-perfect life. Vika raised her eyebrows. What aggression? This is not aggression, I said slowly. This is a boundary. Finally. Fine. My son stood up. I don't want to fight. I'm leaving. At least think about Misha. I am thinking about Misha, I said. about what he's learning by watching how you can and can't treat people. They left, slamming the door loudly. I sank onto the stool. On the saucer were 3 strawberries, with their stems still on. I took one and bit into it. It was sour. The phone vibrated again. A number from Misha's school. I held the phone to my ear. My fingers were trembling less than in the morning. Hello? Hello. This is the social worker. I need to discuss a document that we received today. Your information is listed as the responsible person for unpaid fees. Can you confirm this? I closed my eyes. Outside the window, someone was beating a rug, startling the pigeons. My notebook with the list of no's was on the table. I ran my hand over it. We need to discuss this, I told the social worker. But right now, I'm putting a big period at the end of a very long sentence in my life, and I hung up. I got up, went to the window, and opened it wide. Cold air rushed into the room, filling the kitchen with clarity. I felt the heat leave my cheeks, and my heart beat more evenly. On the top shelf of the cupboard, the green glass of the salad bowl caught and reflected a sliver of winter sun, barely noticeable, but persistent. This is only the beginning. Trust me, events will unfold even more rapidly from here on. Don't miss it. A moment that will change everything is ahead. I woke up early, even before my alarm. The kitchen was quiet, with only the refrigerator humming steadily. Outside the window, sparse flakes of snow were falling on the garage roofs. I brewed some strong tea, sat at the table, and opened my notebook with the list of no's. Yesterday, I had put the final period in it, but I knew that today I would have to do something that would cement everything for good. At 9 in the morning, the phone rang. Mom, my son's voice was strained. We'll be over in an hour. We need to talk. Okay, I replied. An hour later, they were in the hallway. My son was in the jacket I had given him last winter, Vika in a coat the color of wet asphalt. There were no smiles. We've decided, Vika began without even taking off her scarf, that you simply don't understand the full picture. You're refusing to help with obvious things that are for the good of the family. We aren't doing anything bad to you. You're doing something worse, I said calmly. You become used to me always saying yes. My son tried to intervene. Mom, let's not go to extremes. Just sign it and we can move on. We're family, after all. I got up from the table and went to the hutch. I took out a folder with documents and placed it in front of them. Here's my passport. Here's my pension ID. And here is an official notice to the bank stating that any loans that list me are considered fraudulent if my personal signature is not in their office. I delivered it myself yesterday. Vika raised her eyebrows. Are you deliberately trying to undermine us? I'm protecting myself, I replied. My son let out a heavy sigh, but I continued. And there's more. I will not babysit without a prior arrangement. I will not cook by default for your parties. And my things, my gifts, they are my history. If you consider them junk, just give them back to me. Mom, he was almost whispering now. Why are you being like this? So Misha can see that his grandma has dignity. I looked him straight in the eyes. And that love is not an endless service. Vika stood up abruptly. Let's go, Igor. We don't have time for this. My son hesitated for a second, looked at me. I just nodded. Go. When the door closed behind them, I felt not emptiness, but space, as if there was more air in the room. In the evening, there was a quiet knock. Misha was on the doorstep, holding hands with a teenage neighbor. Grandma, he said quietly, Dad said it's okay, I have 5 minutes. He took off his hat and pulled a folded sheet of paper from his pocket. This is for you. I unfolded it. In crooked children's letters, it read, "Grandma, your pie is the best, even if no one can see it." I hugged him close, and we went into the kitchen. I cut the last piece of that very pie and warmed up some tea. We sat in silence, listening to the snow fall outside the window. "You're not mad at us, are you?" he suddenly asked. "No," I smiled. "But I've learned not to hurt myself." He frowned, trying to figure out what that meant. I didn't try to explain. He would understand when he grew up. Later, after clearing the table, I put his drawing in a frame. The pie was gone, but the smell of cinnamon still lingered in the kitchen. I turned off the main light, leaving only the night light on. Standing by the window, I looked out at the snowy rooftops and realized now I get to decide where and how to be. I don't need proof that I'm a good mother or grandmother. I know that. And only now have I understood. True strength is the right to be yourself.